Okay, so welcome everyone. I would like to introduce our speaker. Go ahead and introduce our speaker for this evening. This is Kristin Keene from a company called Rethreaded. I'm going to read over her bio real quick. With a deep commitment to making a difference, Kristin Keene has dedicated herself to creating opportunities for survivors of human trafficking through innovative business initiatives. Kristin's first initiative started in Kolkata, India, where she co-founded Sari Bari, a business that gave survivors of human trafficking a way out of exploitation through employment. Upon her return to the USA in 2012, she founded Rethreaded, an organization created to support survivors of trafficking through meaningful work while providing them with continued healing through counseling and programming. Keene has transformed her years of experience into successful talks, interactive workbooks, and a podcast that focuses on the processes of rethreading the threads of our lives into our purpose. Kristin's efforts have enabled over 200 survivors of human trafficking and their families to reclaim their lives. When she's not at Rethreaded, sitting in on board meetings or leading seminars, Kristin continues to find beauty and meaning in the world through swims in the ocean at sunrise, challenges herself on the pickleball court, and picking up vintage treasures at a local thrift store. Now that's right up my alley too. Kristin, go ahead.
All right. So I'm going to make this as interactive as possible, and just feel free to ask questions whenever you have them. A lot of my stats are from Jacksonville, Florida, where I'm at, but I doubt that wherever you're from, the stats would be that much different. So I'm going to go through this program. Let me share my screen like we practiced. Okay, so I'm going to start with the video.
Human trafficking. Human trafficking stole my purpose in a lot of different ways. But it stole my children's youth. It stole my time. It stole my freedom to walk freely, to speak freely, to move freely. It stole my ability to love. At one point, I thought my future was dead, and it stole so much from me. It robbed me of everything. My will, my hope, my family, my confidence. It took everything from me.
When I was in a life, it was just very cloudy. And not just like the days, even like my thought process. It was like living in this world where you don't really know who you are.
Human trafficking stole my purpose piece by piece. Just gradually losing touch with who I was as an individual, my values, my beliefs, my passions, my dreams. Realizing nobody was going to save me but me. And the life that I was living wasn't going anywhere. I wasn't doing anything for myself.
There had to be something more, that there had to be something different, that this wasn't the only way, and, you know, that I could get out of this.
I think I decided to take control of my life. The person that I started to feel like I am, and just wanting to get to know her again and getting to meet her, falling in love with her. I love working with my hands and creating, and yeah, it's just great.
My purpose is to instill hope to those who feel hopeless. I want to let the women know that there's a beautiful life to be lived, and that it's never too late.
This is the purpose for my pain, And this is how I'm gonna help lead other women, other survivors, just like me, out of trauma.
There's no more darkness. There is only light. I feel so empowered. I feel so beautiful. I have probably never felt so loved and so happy. If I could tell the world one thing about living on purpose, I would tell them to do it. My life is full in a good way. It's a much greater happiness when everything you do is on purpose.
So that is like one of the hardest things about trafficking. I've done this work for like 25 years, walking with women, coming out of hard things, and 100% of it have experienced severe complex trauma, which means you've experienced hard things over and over and over again in different forms, over time. And literally it changes your brain chemistry into survival mode. And, and women forget who they are. They figure out that they have worth, and you help women remember who they are so they can change the game in their own life and in our community. So that's kind of what I do, is I help remember women who they are. So I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on what do you know about human trafficking? What is human trafficking? Would just love to hear what you guys know and where you're at.
It doesn't have to be international. It could be domestic.
Amen. Yep, that is 100% true. Anyone else?
Well, we know it occurs in Florida. We know our sheriff over in Polk County has been very good at breaking up rings and whatever.
County. Mhm. It does. It's happening in Florida. It happens in our cities. Yep.
Yep.
It's very true.
A lot of times the women know. They're familiar with their traffickers.
Mhm. Yes.
And they don't realize
Yes.
that. They don't realize what's happening until it could be too late.
That is so true too.
I would think of it as enslaving people for profit.
There's definitely a part of enslavement, and definitely involves money, 100%. I think that's the root of trafficking is greed and money. Well, here's the definition of trafficking. Human trafficking, and we're talking about, we only work with sex trafficking at Rethreaded, not necessarily labor trafficking. So sex trafficking is the use of force, fraud, or coercion to make a person perform a sex act for profit. And if a person is under the age of 18, like if it's a minor, you don't have to prove force, fraud, or coercion. But if you're over 18, you have to prove the force, fraud, or coercion. So this looks like a runaway teen who doesn't have a place to stay for the night, and a person says, you can stay here, but you have to have sex with me. That's trafficking. It's the woman who gets an addiction and meets the wrong guy, the drug dealer, who then starts to control her and make her go perform sex acts so she can get drugs. And he's controlling her through the drugs. This is the woman, the kid, the adult, whoever it is, whose boyfriend says, just this one time. This is the person whose dad is selling them online, right? This is the mom who's selling their daughters for drugs. That's trafficking. So it's a lot different than whatever anyone thinks. In fact, only 5% is abduction. The other 95%, I'm getting my screen, this much of my screen, 95% is a person has a vulnerability and someone exploits the vulnerability so they can make money. There is a root cause of it. So this is just Florida, some numbers. Florida ranks third in reported cases of human trafficking. My city where I live ranks 48th in the nation for reported cases of human trafficking. These streets won't mean anything to you, but I bet each of you in your city, most cities, there's a place that is known for prostitution, right? Like I grew up in Tampa, Florida, and we always made the jokes about Dale Mabry, right? Like there was always kind of jokes around this certain area of the city, and no one really knows what is actually happening in those parts of the city. And 100% of Rethreaded survivors, we've employed 105 women at this point, and all have been US citizens. So we've never had anyone trafficked from another country at Rethreaded. So this is our city in Jacksonville. I just want to explain a little bit of the technology we're using. There's this organization here that goes into all the strip clubs and reaches out to women in strip clubs. And there's a technology because sex is sold online now. This technology websites, and they can send a text out to everyone in a 15-mile radius of a certain point in Jacksonville. And this organization then starts to interact with all these people who are selling themselves or being sold online. And then we engage them. And these are some of the addresses that we've gotten all around our city in Jacksonville. And in 1 year in this is in Jacksonville, Florida. In 1 year, there was 16,125 individual phone numbers that they texted of people being sold online, females. So this gives some of the numbers. Some human trafficking makes a lot of money, and billion, it's about 3 billion a year. That's human trafficking is $267 million a day. So there is a huge demand to buy sex, right? So our philosophy and our strategy is if we could stop demand, then we could stop the supply. It's a basic business principle. There's no demand, then there's no supply. So how do we disrupt the demand industry and make it as hard as possible for human trafficking to happen in our cities? And that means we need to make it as hard as possible for anyone to purchase sex and not purchase another human being, purchase exploitation in their city. So this is just to give you some numbers. So there's been a lot of people talk about how there's an increase in trafficking during major sporting events. So this uses the technology I was talking to you about. So during a normal week, they sent out a text to everyone who was selling sex online within a 15-mile radius of Jacksonville, and 560 numbers were on this. A week before one of our major sporting events, they sent out a text, and there was 934 individual numbers. And then during the major and sporting events, there was 2,875 numbers that they were texting. So this like shows what is happening during major sporting events that involve, I love men, right? But large sporting events where a majority men, trafficking goes up in the city. And this gives some numbers in our city on demand. So this amazing organization, Epic, you can see their logo in the corner. They're a demand reduction organization that works all over the country. And we've been working with them in our city. And what they do is they run a fake ad. So they'll run one fake ad that people can click on, and they think that they're going to be able to buy a human being when they click on the ad. And when they text or call the number that's on the ad, Epic talks to the buyer and tries to interfere and actually understand what's going on in the buyer's life and why are you doing this, and tries to stop them. So they ran an ad during a normal week And usually when you put an ad up, it only stays on the front page for approximately 3 hours. And they don't promote it at all. They don't give it any advertising money. So they estimate that when they put the fake ad up, it's about 1 of 500 listed in Jacksonville, and it's only on the front page for less than 3 hours. And they had, in those 3 hours, they had 185 purchase attempts from one ad. And then during the major sporting event, they ran the same ad, and it was about twice the amount of purchase attempts. 314 people tried to engage in that ad to purchase sex during this sporting event. I've been doing this a long time, right? And when I saw these numbers, I'm still like, oh my gosh, this is a lot of people in 3 hours trying to purchase. There is a huge demand. And this is also what a lot of people don't know is that 45% now of trafficking cases is familial, that it's a family member trafficking the vulnerable one in their family. 39% is romantic partners, so that is we call it the Romeo, where a woman will meet a man and he'll sweep her off her feet and she'll get involved. I'll go through that in a second. And this is the stat I like to use because this also rocked my world when I started doing all my research, is that 75 to 95% of women who end up in the commercial sex trade industry. So 75 to 95% of women who end up in strip clubs, pornography, escorting, human trafficking have been sexually abused as kids. So what sexual abuse as a kid normalizes exploitation. So if that's been your norm and you go out into the world, there's an industry there that is waiting to normalize exploitation, and then they talk about how much you get paid and they glamorize it and they exploit the vulnerability of being exploited as a child. So disturbing. And actually human trafficking takes time. It's not an overnight thing, right? That's why kidnapping is lower. That's why only 5% is kidnapping, because when you kidnap someone, it's often harder to control them. So the stage one is recruitment. So this was one of our women. She was 24, 3 kids, married her high school sweetheart, stay-at-home mom, PTA mom, like loved her life. And her husband came back from war with severe PTSD and decided that he didn't want his kids anymore. He doesn't want his family anymore. So she was left with a mortgage payment, 3 kids, car payments, and no work experience. So she started working nights in a retail store, and a man came through her line and said something that changed her life forever. And he said, "How are you?" And she told him, right? She told him how she was, not knowing that she just revealed her broken heart, her vulnerability of a broken heart, and her financial instability. And the trafficker knew this, and he started to show up every night, took her on a date, and basically became her knight in shining armor, which leads to step 2, which is the grooming. And this is where the trafficker builds trust and then starts to isolate. So with Rachel, he started to show up every night. I said, "I got you." He met her family, met her kids. They became boyfriend and girlfriend. He's like, "I got you. I'll pay your mortgage. I'll pay your car. Don't worry about it." And over 8 months, he totally isolated her from the world. And then it wasn't until step 3, 8 months in, that he introduced trafficking. And this is where he introduced severe violence, sexual exploitation, and threats against her children. And she was trafficked in Jacksonville, in my city. It's my city, for 10 years. In my city, like 10 years. And which eventually leads to the stage called immersion. And this is where the trauma becomes normal. This is where you think it's your fault, it's your choice, and your life is going to be like this forever. There's no way out. So I might as well submit that this is my life. And Renata was trafficked for the next 10 years. And a lot of people would ask, why don't you just leave? And the stats are, if a woman tries to leave, if she's able to leave, 20% are able to leave and permanent leave, but 80% will return to the life. And this is why right here. Because when a woman leaves, there's over 72 barriers that she has to overcome to get her life back. Like, she has a threat from the trafficker. She's most likely lost her kids. She has no housing. She has no food. She has no job history. She has no criminal background. Criminal background. Usually the trafficker destroys their credit. She's had no support system. So with Renata, she had no support system for 10 years. And then there's dealing with the justice system, dealing with trying to get your kids back. And then there's an absolute lack of any kind of internal locus of control because you have severe complex trauma. You've been living out of fight and flight for years and years and years and years, where you're totally numb and totally hopeless and you forget who you are. Like, what would you do? And I can tell you what Rachel did. When Rachel was taken out of a hotel, she was taken out of a major highway here, off of a major highway, in a hotel where she had been living in a hotel for 2 years, right? 2 years. Everyone at the hotel was in on it. The manager, everyone knew what was happening, and the trafficker paid off the hotel manager so they could stay there. He was controlling the lives of 36 women. And when they finally arrested her trafficker, she was one of the only ones that was brave enough to testify against her trafficker. Her trafficker went to jail and she was finally brave enough to leave. So she was, quote, free, right? But she had no job, no driver's license, no place to live. She was couch surfing. People told her to her face, "We don't want your kind here." And she finally called the FBI agent and says, "I don't know what to do. You said my life would be better. What do I do now?" And the FBI agent said, "You need to go to Rethreaded." And Rethreaded exists for Rachel. So Rethreaded exists for the complete restoration of survivors of human trafficking. So the idea is when a woman comes to Rethreaded, she's with us for 3 to 5 years. She rebuilds her life, and at the end, she has choice about what she wants to do in her life. She's eliminated the vulnerabilities to what made her vulnerable to trafficking, and she's broken the cycle of generational trauma for herself and her children. And Rethreaded does that through time and community. We're basically harnessing all the amazing, beautiful things about business. So we provide long-term employment in our company. We run social enterprises. I was looking for my purse. This is a good example. So we run social enterprises under our nonprofit, and we run a manufacturing company. So we upcycle leather airline seats into new products. So like this keychain right here yes, look at you, got your wallet, made from a leather airline seat. So women can work in production, sewing, creating, making jewelry. Oh, and you got your bag. And that's one of the bags that Alicia has. And we make amazing, beautiful product. We have a food manufacturing company. You got another. Let me see that last one, Alicia. Let me see that one. The last one. Let me see that. And the cat toy. So we upcycle t-shirts into new product as well. Alicia is a fan. Look at that. And that's a cat toy, and we have organic cat litter in it. A spoon from around the world. I'll tell you more about that. We have a food manufacturing company where we make the best toffee. And then we're on 36,000 square feet and 2 acres. So we have a whole operations team where women are working operations. So they're learning painting, landscaping, janitorial. They get forklift certified, and they're able to build skills that give them a career. We have a retail store on site, and that is where women learn everything they need to know about retail, everything from merchandising to management to cash register to inventory to product ordering. And then we have women in our business development team running sales, running volunteers, women in our marketing department. So wherever a woman comes to life and she has natural talent and she loves, we put her on that career path. And while they're at Rethreaded, we also then provide wraparound services. So we provide access to career development. So that's everything from critical thinking to emotional intelligence. Today was nutrition class, dress for success, resume, interviewing, everything a woman needs to develop a career. And then there's mental health support. We have weekly group therapy. We pay for one-on-one counseling, and everything, all our training is paid. It's on the clock at Rethreaded. It's part of their job is to heal at Rethreaded. And I think one of the beautiful things about Rethreaded and what makes us really different is that a lot of organizations are like the top down, but like it's the community at Rethreaded that changes lives, right? So this group of women and one man, Jason Jones, right here in the corner, every day we get up and we know that we are paving the way for the woman behind us. And we have purpose, we have meaning, and we're working together to make sure that we can bring more and more women into Rethreaded. And Rachel, Rachel came to Rethreaded. She did not have access to a license yet because of her criminal background. So every single day for 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours at night, she took the bus to Rethreaded every single day. She started counseling. She started the expungement process. And we put her into our finance department. She said when she was little, instead of playing school, she like dreamed of doing business. So we put her in the finance department. And within 2 years, she was running 95% of our day-to-day finances. So she went from thinking a spreadsheet, she was like, I don't know, she thought we were joking about a bed when we told her spreadsheet, to within 2 years running 95% of our day-to-day finances. And then at 2 years, she became the first woman in Northeast Florida to have her record expunged. And once she had that, she got her license back. Then she was able to get good housing, a good car. Eventually, she got her kids back, started college, and she graduated from, she left Rethreaded and eventually became a paralegal. And the most amazing thing about Rachel is that she brought over 25 women to Rethreaded through her influence. And that is why I am passionate about this work, because inside each of these women are world changers, and they just need the right opportunity and the right community. And we're all better. If you want to be, we need support right now. It is a hard time for nonprofits. I'm not even gonna lie. It is a hard time for nonprofits. I'm sure Rotary probably feels it too. But we need you to shop. You can shop at rethreaded.com. We literally have the best candy, the most beautiful products in the world. And it's when you buy a product from us, it's awesome because it creates the work. And it is through the work that women remember who they are. So literally when you shop with us, you are creating work so a woman can change her life. We love donations. Donations is how we pay for the program. That's how we pay for the counseling and all the classes that we do, everything we do. So we need donations. We're doing another hiring class in April. And we need to make sure we are funding now so we can hire more women in April. If you have a company and you do any corporate gifting, like to your clients or to your employees, we have a corporate gift company. So we make these beautiful gift boxes. We can put initials on the products. We can put your company's logo. It's an easy way. to change the world by doing something you're already doing. And I told you, just all right. What questions do you guys have?
Yeah, Kristen, um, most of the members of the club are on the west coast of Florida or the south. I happen to be in northeast Florida. I live in Ponte Vedra.
You do.
So when you showed the map of Jacksonville, I
Yep.
was like, wow.
Yeah.
You know, I knew the streets, I knew the area.
Mhm.
Um, and I guess I have a couple of questions. Where is your retail store?
Okay. Our retail store is near downtown. We're about 2 miles from downtown, and we're on the border of Springfield on the east side.
Okay.
Raymond, I would love for you to come.
It's a beautiful shop.
It's
It really
beautiful.
Yeah. And I also, how did you end up in India? How how did that all come about?
The short story is I had some experiences in high school and college around sex, and I was like, I never want another woman to feel this way. I became a Christian probably in college, and I felt like God said, whatever you think is your greatest shame, I'm going to use it to change the world. And I graduated college, got a degree in nutrition, did my internship in nutrition, passed my test, got my license in nutrition, and I was like, I don't want to do this. I went into campus ministry for 2 years, and I ended up going to India for 4 months. And you're
Yeah.
discipled by God's heart for the poor. You work in Mother Teresa's homes. And that's when I started going to the red light district for the first time. And in India, there was 10,000 women, like in a four block radius, 30% underage. And I started going to visit and talk to women, and I was like, this, it rocked my world, right? So I was going to go to grad school instead. I came back and was on staff in Calcutta, in India, and that's how eventually we started a business in India so women could have a way out. So that's the short version of how I ended up in India.
Okay. Okay.
Changed my life forever.
Any other questions, comments?
No,
How-
I
I-
if Alicia, if my memory serves me correct, and I could be wrong, I often is wrong, but I think within the past year, the Rotary magazine did a issue on human trafficking um, centered in Seattle, and I thought it was a fascinating issue. I don't know if anyone else remembers it.
They're doing like Seattle's kind of like modeled the way for the nation in the way that so it used to be children could be arrested for prostitution. So they would arrest children for prostitution. And eventually they changed the law that children can't, they have no autonomy, right? They can't be arrested for selling themselves because it's illegal to have sex with a child. And then they're also the ones that started the demand initiative. And in Seattle, there's a higher penalty for buying sex, and they never arrest women for selling. They offer them services instead. So they've kind of set the model for the nation of what works and how do you disrupt demand in a city. They've done great work.
Dick, you had a question?
Well, I'm curious. I grew up in Jacksonville in Arlington on the Arlington River. And
Yeah.
yeah, and after 34 years of that, I moved south because it was warmer to Tampa. But at any rate, I
It is
appreciate,
warmer in Tampa.
well, being a sailor, it was better. But at any rate, my question is, are you very much involved with the Florida Sheriff's Association and how that might work out for passing the information along. This is a wonderful program, and I really appreciate your taking the time to do it.
Yeah, we are highly involved, and we're actually working with the law enforcement now to start a citywide anti-human trafficking program. We have this amazing thing in our city called Intercept, and it's under this nonprofit called Operation New Light that is through the Tim Tebow Foundation. So in Northeast Florida, all the sheriffs organizations come together quarterly and they make strategies on how they're going to stop childhood sexual exploitation in the city and human trafficking. So did you hear about that? I know they did it in Polk County. I know they did it through Tampa. They had like Operation Child Rescue, or they'll do the statewide stings. Um, Intercept, the sheriffs working together is behind all those working together and those stings. So like in our city, they rescued 14 runaway kids. They're the ones that did a raid in Jacksonville. They posted an ad advertising a 14-year-old, and 14 men showed up to buy, thinking they were having sex with a 14-year-old. So like props. If you have any connections to the Florida Sheriff's Association, I would love to talk to them. But law enforcement has radically changed their approach, especially in Jacksonville in the past 10 years. Totally different. Rachel, whose story I was telling you about, she celebrated being out of the life longer than she was being in it. She had been in it. So when she was taken out of the life of trafficking, that was 10 years ago. And now the awareness and the resources available to a woman coming out of the life are so different than when Rachel came out 10 years ago.
I know that some 20 years ago, the Tampa FBI office had several individuals whose 24-hour job was being online and trying to find illegal activity such as this.
Yes.
Is the FBI still involved in the various FBI offices around Florida?
Oh yeah, if the intercept community, so anything that involves so with human trafficking, they can make it a state case or they can make it a federal case. So like in Rachel's case, the FBI followed her for 4 years to try to build a case against her trafficker, and then they ended up putting him in jail for drug charges because they knew that if they went to trial, they could prove the drug charges, and they were afraid that they wouldn't be able to prove the trafficking charges. So our law enforcement works with our state attorney's office, who works with the FBI, and they decide where is the best course of action, where can they get the highest punishment. So if it can't go federal, can they go the state route and get a higher punishment? So they kind of work the legal system. Yes, the FBI is 100% involved in our city. Homeland Security is involved in our city for trafficking. So it is a community-wide effort that's being done. Tampa is also doing like amazing things in this world as well.
Kristen, my name is Allison, and I am in just north of Tampa. And if you look at the heat maps, pretty much Tampa and Orlando are almost merging now. It used to be, Miami was number one, and then we would go back and forth between Orlando and Tampa for number two. Yay. My question is do you know of any organizations over this way that do something similar to what you do, or do you have plans to maybe move into some of these high heat map areas?
In Tampa, the biggest source that I know, they have an amazing human trafficking coalition. So if you want to get involved, is to go to their human trafficking coalition. I mean, Tampa has a vibrant service community. And what is the name of the organization? She just came down to Jacksonville and met with us. Is it the Tampa Bay Area Rescue? It's a huge organization, and human trafficking falls under that. I'll get it to you, Allison. I'll get it to Alicia and we'll get it to you. I cannot remember the name of the organization right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's like right on the edge of my head, but I can't
Yes.
remember either.
They do so much in Tampa. They employ like 400 people. They employ ambulances. They employ the mental health number. They run the mental health emergency number. And they run the human trafficking number as well that connects
Okay.
women and victims to services. And no, right, as of now, we don't have any plans to expand. What has happened is that other organizations from other, like we have two women, a woman from Ohio and a woman from Indiana who needed to relocate. So they sent them down here to live in a home and work at Rethreaded. So that's kind of how we've been expanding is people are sent down to Rethreaded to start a new life at this point.
Okay, so you do take people from outside of Jacksonville if you have the
Oh
capacity.
yeah. We'll take people. So 98% of our women were trafficked in Northeast Florida. So like that's only 2 of our women have come where they have not experienced exploitation in Northeast Florida.
Okay. I'm more familiar. I've been working with an organization here in the Tampa area that deals with minors that have been trafficked. And so I'm more familiar with that than I am with the adults that have been trafficked. This has been very useful information. I thank you.
Good. Awesome.
Hi, Kristin. This is Godwin, and I'm in Jacksonville too, by the way.
What? All these
Yeah.
Jacksonvillians.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know the streets you talk about, and then also this is a topic that I'm kind of a little bit naive when it comes to like what's happening in a world like this. So when I saw the topic, I decided to look it up and see like what you coming to talk about. And I saw, okay, I think when you ask what the understanding is, I hear people mention or talk about some of the things that I read, like forced labor, the slavery part, and then organ harvesting and all of that. So if you all are just into the sexual exploitation of this, are there other bodies looking at the other part of human trafficking, or is there somewhere that we have stats on all those other part of human trafficking outside of just sexual exploitation?
I honestly don't know organizations that are working with labor trafficking, police raids, and the police are investigating labor trafficking. Like in massage parlors, it's a combination of sex trafficking and labor trafficking. There's a huge Chinese population that women are trafficked from New York and they're trafficked down through New York. They just did a raid in Jacksonville at a massage parlor, and a woman was illegally brought over from China up from Mexico to Texas, and they moved her to a massage parlor here in Jacksonville. And when the police went in to work with her, she thought she was still in Texas. Like she didn't even know where she was in the country. So that's the combo of, because usually when a women work in massage parlors, they live there, they work there, they breathe there, they're not paid, and it's the combination of both. But massage parlors is a huge source of human trafficking that no one talks about either.
I see.
I don't know
All
if that
right.
helps.
Oh, that's helpful, and I just want to say the information you shared is actually helpful because, like I said, I'm not really informed on this. I know I've seen bits and pieces of it, maybe certain movies. But in that, the picture I have is somebody taken from some country, shipped to another country somewhere that they have no idea where they are and they cannot go back. I didn't know it's to the point where locally, like people just within Jacksonville can get trafficked and they don't know, like they can't get out of it. Like, so I think this is helpful to know because that's new to me.
It is, it's so different than media. Because trafficking actually, I wish there was that we could rename it because trafficking actually doesn't have anything to do with movement, right? Trafficking is the use of force, fraud, or coercion to make a person perform a sex act for profit. So the actual moving people across like state lines or nation lines is like human smuggling as opposed to trafficking. Once you start selling them and making them do sex acts, that's when the trafficking comes in.
Okay.
And I would love to have you, Godwin, come for a tour. Jacksonvillians, or if you want to come up from Tampa, I'd always love to give you a tour. We can put you in one of our volunteer experiences. You can come be on our property. I don't know, Alicia, like when you walk on our property, you can feel it's a really hopeful place.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
It's a good
we
vibe.
love-
Very good.
It's good.
Roseanne, you had a question?
Yes, I have a question. I have two questions. So my first question is, can you talk a little bit about like where do the women live? Is it a group home, or if they're coming into your program, what is that like? And then my second question is, has there been like a Rotary connection with your organization in the past? Has Rotary done grants or any type of cooperation with Rethreaded? So those are my two questions.
The first one is, so women we're the work piece, and then we have case managers on staff who work with women to try to get whatever they need. So a lot of our women are coming out of rehab because addiction and human trafficking are like intertwined. And so a lot of our women are coming out of drug rehab facilities that have step housing. There's another organization in town called Villages of Hope that just opened, and they're a tiny home, and women live there 2 years. So they're partnering with us and sending their women to us to be employed at Rethreaded. Stable, affordable housing is still one of the biggest and hardest things to find because as a nation, we are in an affordable housing crisis. So we are always working with solutions. Rethreaded is not going to solve the housing crisis, so we're trying to solve it for the women at Rethreaded. So we try to work with Ability Housing. There's some other nonprofits in town where the renters will allow women to live at pay lower rent, and then over time slowly increase the rent as their pay increases. So we don't provide housing. We provide social workers to provide access to housing. And then we've always been connected with Rotary. Like, we've always been connected with Rotary. They have given us a grant one time to buy some sewing machines. And recently we got to speak. That's how I met Alicia. We got to speak at the big, Alicia, you're gonna have to use Rotary language though. Got to speak
The
at the
Zone
big
Summit.
Thank you. And we get to speak now at the statewide Rotary coming up in March. And I had plans on how to activate Rotary when we're ready for the citywide program. Like I think between Rotary and churches in Jacksonville, we can change the game. Rotary is part of my strategy to change the world.
Yeah, I
Because
think
Rotary
it's a
people
great
already
idea.
get it,
There's,
right? They already get it.
Yeah.
So mhm.
yeah, a lot of synergy between what you're doing and what Rotary hopes to undertake. So
And we got connected with the international director, David. I can't remember his last name now, but the Rotary leader who's leading the international movement for human trafficking. He's been amazing. He knows everyone around the world, and it's just been a great source of inspiration and resources for us.
Great. Wonderful. Well, I
Yes.
commend you. I mean, this is incredibly impactful work. Very, very impressed.
It's awesome.
And Kristin mentioned that she had a slide up with a QR code for donations. I also want to let you know, Kristin, that as I told you I was going to do, I did put a donation button on our club's webpage to donate to Rethreaded. And most of the people that donate, most of the Rotarians that donate are visiting Rotarians. So it happens occasionally, but so far I can cut you a check for $100.
Awesome. Thank you.
Anybody, you know, It's online now. Anybody in our club, you can go to our website, hit on that donation button, and there'll be a drop down menu. And yeah, I would highly recommend donating to Rethreaded.
We would love that. We are in need of it.
Any
Well,
other-
that's a good question. What is the size of your annual budget? Is it sufficient, or are you basically having to work from month to month?
We have a 2.8, can't believe I'm saying that out loud sometimes. A $2.8 million budget. And the way that our cash flow works is, because we're sales and donation, right? So we get an influx of cash at Christmas. Then we have our gala. This year it's the end of January. Usually it's in February, March. So those big influences then carry you through the next season. I mean, so we're this mix of retail and donations. And the past 2 years have gotten tighter and tighter, right? There has been no expansion of our budget or our ability to hire more people because it just hasn't been there, right? So we have not had growth in the past 2 years because of the constraints that a lot of us are feeling. And depending on the year, the amount of sales can be, sometimes it's as low as 20, and then other times it's been as high as 50, right? So, and also we're not that picky about where the money comes from. We just need to meet that budget.
Oh, Alexa, do you have a question?
Yeah, I wanted to ask her a question real quick. I really enjoyed listening to the presentation. I'm glad I got to come visit and listen to it. I had I guess dealt with or seen some of the human trafficking aspects on the domestic side, and then I studied it at a more wide scale level, I guess internationally in school, like participating in things like Model UN and stuff as we looked at that from like a diplomatic perspective, I guess. Um, and I think my question was, and this honestly might be more on the law enforcement side. I like how you guys are like providing them with resources and like making it like turning it into like a positive thing rather than like taking it away as in a negative aspect. So I really like that aspect of it. When it comes to it being a dangerous situation, as you said, only 20% of them actually ended up making it out of the life that they are in. And when it comes to like their it being a dangerous situation or their life being in danger or they're being threatened either by the trafficker or the abuser, how do you guys usually go about that?
So if a woman is in immediate danger, Rethreaded isn't normally the place for her. So we're kind of like stage 2. So a woman usually has to be clean, stable, and somewhat sober for about 6 months before she comes here.
I see.
So in our history, a majority of women don't get to us until they've been able to freely leave. So in Rachel's case, she was able to leave when her trafficker went to jail. So usually women only make it to us once they are safe and secure and out and able to leave. We have had women, that does not mean in our history, we have like an 85% success rate of women not going back into the life. The women that do go back into the life, at some point in a woman's history, the trafficker usually reaches back out through social media. We've had about 5 women go back. And if a woman comes to Rethreaded, and usually when she goes back, like we lost a woman one time. She went in and yeah, I mean, that story still haunts me, right? She died of an overdose. And then sometimes when a woman leaves, she has enough strength that has been instilled inside her that she knows there's something different now. And she doesn't go all the way back into full-on addiction and full-on living in the life of human trafficking. So different cases, but so far, nothing, no violent has happened at Rethreaded, or so when women make it to us, they're able to safely.
Good, thank goodness. Yeah, thank you again for your time today.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments for Kristin?
Thank you guys so much for your time. If you are in Jacksonville, Alicia, you can send out my email. Please reach out to me and I would love to give you a tour. I would love to give you a tour and get you involved. We'd love to be your source of Christmas presents or all presents in your life. And once you have our toffee, you will never go back to another
It's
candy.
awesome. It's awesome.
I can promise you this.
Yeah, yeah. And the different flavors, oh my goodness. Yes, it's addicting, but it's good.
It's
But
so
yeah,
good.
I would highly recommend visiting Rethreaded. Definitely. So Kristin, thank you. I have been looking forward to you coming on board and talking to the
Thank
club
you.
for months.
And thank you for your advocacy, Alicia. It means a lot.
Yep, you got it.
Changes the world.
Yep. All right.
Right.
You're welcome to stay, Kristin, or we say have a good evening. We've got Alexa coming up, and she has a few words to say.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Have a good evening, Kristin. Thank you again.
Thank you, Kristin.
All right, Alexa. Where'd you go?
Yes, yeah, I just wanted to give like just a brief introduction and thank you. My name is Alexa and I am a senior at St. Pete Collegiate High School on the St. Pete College campus in St. Pete, Florida. And I will be participating in the Rotary Youth Exchange Program, which will send me and 5 other students in the District 6950 to different countries for our exchange year, and that will be in the 2026 to 27. I apologize for my dog. In the 2026 to 27 academic year. So I will be going to Brazil for my exchange year, and the 5 other students with us, they will be going to Taiwan, Thailand, Japan, Croatia, and Austria. So those are the countries that were selected this year. We will be immersed in the culture there and learning a new language. We will attend school there and we will live with 3 different host families throughout our time there. We depart in this coming August and we'll be there to the following June, so for about 10 months. So we'll get to experience life there and really just get to know the area. And we're very excited for that experience. Through the efforts of Alicia and Paul and a couple of their board members for their time over the holidays. I'm very grateful for their efforts. They were able to get a endorsement form signed and a sponsorship for me that is able to help provide me with the necessary resources and sponsorship to be able to take this experience. So I'm very grateful for that. And this weekend actually is our first training in Atlanta. And we will be working with the program chair and country coordinator, Doug and Connie LaBelle, and they will be helping us start with learning a new language and sort of getting accustomed to the training there. So very grateful to the people who have helped us to get started in this process, and we're looking forward to working with them again. And then, as I think Alicia mentioned a little bit before, this club also sponsored me for S4TL this past summer. So the seminar for Tomorrow's Leaders at Florida Southern College, which was also a great experience. For anyone who hasn't heard of it, it's for high school juniors or rising seniors. So in the summer of their junior year. And we attend with students from around Florida, and we get to interact with these other students, with Rotarians. We hear from motivational and like professional development type speakers, and we do activities, and it really helps us to just develop our professional and personal leadership skills. So that was something that this club also sponsored me for. So I'm grateful to the efforts for this club, for Rotary, and the sense of community and everything that it has brought with it. So thank you for that.
All right. Well, Alexa, thank you. We're happy. We're proud to be one of the few clubs. Hopefully there'll be more clubs in the district in the future, but we're very honored to support you in this really cool endeavor.
Yes, thank you. I'll be going through us, and then the five others. We'll be visiting a couple clubs around the area. I'm in St. Pete, so I'll probably be visiting a couple clubs around my area in Tyrone and Largo and Clearwater, etc. And just we'll be just speaking to them about our experience with Rotary, and the kinds of cool things and like community building and volunteer based activities that we've been able to do, and then just in order to spread the word about the experience and everything, so it'll be cool.
Very cool. Any
Alexa,
questions?
I have a 35-year experience level with S4TL. I'm so proud of you guys. And as you go to the various Rotary clubs, pound on their heads to get them to send more kids from their club. Okay.
We will, yeah. A friend and I run the Interact Club at our high school, so we're looking to see if we can appoint a couple other juniors and find them some spots in clubs to be able to go in this coming year as we approach the spring.
Well, awesome. Any other questions or comments for Alexa? Well, kudos. Thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
on. It's good.
Yes,
to see
thank you for
again.
having me.
We're working on I have no idea what I just okay. We're working on either a March or April program for our Zoom meeting for all our S4TL alumni to come on and
Yes.
as soon as we have a date set, I'll let everyone know. Well, all right. Well, with that, let's see, we have not many. Well, we lost our one board member, so I think we're going to go ahead. Paul's working on ships, so we're going to go ahead and finish off the meeting with the 4-way test. Everything that we think, say, and do. Is it the truth?
Is it the truth?
Is it
fair to all
concerned?
concerned?
Will it build goodwill and
Goodwill,
friendship?
better future.
Will it be
And will it be beneficial to all
All
concerned?
concerned.
Nothing like the Brady Bunch doing. 4-way test.
Good night, John Boy.
Perfect.